Daddy, I pray a lot, or at least I try to pray a lot, but I get nothing back. I don't get any answer back, and I can't hear him talk back to me. Is God really listening to my prayers?
Let's split that question into two. First, I can't hear God answering my prayers. Second, is God really listening to my prayers?
Is there a difference?
Let me start by answering the second question first. And before I say yes, he does listen, which is what you expect me to say, let's go back in time through ancient history and see if you remember this. Do you remember the time when you pretended not to hear a word Mom was saying, even though you heard every single word? Oh, and I don't mean the time when you had that noise cancellation earphones plugged into your ear.
Kinda yes.
And do you remember the time when you were whining at Toys R Us, demanding that I buy you that new toy, and I just looked at you in silence?
No.
Well, God hears all prayers. He doesn't have noise cancellation earphones like you do sometimes, and he doesn't close his ears around saying nah 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 like I do sometimes. Now, he can choose to ignore your prayers for many different reasons, but he is quite capable of listening to everybody's prayers, even if all 8 billion people pray at the same time.
Then why isn't he listening to my prayer?
Now, I said he's capable of listening to everybody's prayers, but don't you say I said he listens to everybody's prayers.
Why does he listen to the prayers so selectively then?
He listens to all prayers in real time, but he answers them in his time, when it needs to be answered, not before and certainly not later than when it's needed. Look back in your life and see how many prayers God has answered. There's quite a lot, isn't it?
I think so.
You see, all those years ago, when I looked back at you in silence at the toy store, didn't you eventually get those toys you asked for? Was it so bad you had to wait? Now, back to your first question. Why can't I hear God's answers? I guess you're not asking about toys and things anymore.
I'm asking why he doesn't connect with me.
Oh, sweet pea, I guess the question you really are asking is, why can't I feel God connecting with me? I am so sorry. I am sorry, Gabby. I am so sorry that I am so sorry for all the times I kept my silence and didn't give you those comforting words you so dearly needed. You see, many of my silence is a result of imperfect parenting skills. I didn't know what to say, or I didn't know you needed to hear comforting words. So I hope you don't think God has the same problem, because He is the perfect Father. And yes, there were times, or should I say, there are times even now, that I can't hear His voice either. Looking back, I guess I was too hurt, too sad, too depressed to be able to hear Him speak to me in many different ways. So don't just rely on that voice in your head or the voice in your heart to hear God speak to you. We are not Jedis who could stretch out with your feelings to get the right answers to every situation. I even heard people who claim they heard God through Instagram or podcast or even a YouTube. Our God is a lot more imaginative and creative in finding ways to reach out and touch us. Many times, I can hear God speak through your mom. And don't tell her I said that. Would you believe I even hear God through you? And no, it's not through your awesomeness or infinite wisdom, but It's the insight and wisdom from God that is shown through you.
But how do I distinguish if it's coming from God or else?
When that flash of insight from Instagram seems too good to be true, I reach out for my Bible. When my 5G connection cuts off and I can no longer hear God speak to me, I go old tech. I reach for my Bible. When those funny voices in my head speak to me, I reach for my Bible. Read the Bible and you could get a lot of answers you're searching for. Maybe not the answers to that nano whatchamacallit in your next chemistry exam, and I know you've asked him for that, but you'll find a lot of the answers to life in general. Read the Bible to get confirmation that what you have heard is actually from God. Read the Bible, and I hope and pray you will never feel like God is not talking to you. And Sweet Bee, keep on praying.